Hello, hi, I'm Gio. I'm one of the student advisors here at LSE Live. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm Mayisha, and yeah, I'm here today.
And what specifically would you like to talk about?
So, I'm from the geography department, and for the past month or so, I just seem to notice that the reading list is quite long, and I'm sort of finding it like quite challenging in terms of how to manage it. And I realize that I'm also a very slow reader, so just wondering how do I manage this?
Well, I think it's normal. Quite a few students are finding themselves in a similar position at this point in time. It doesn't mean it's easy to deal with, but you're not the only one. I think for me, it's quite important to figure out what it is that you're trying to get out of the reading. When you're reading, what are you trying to do? What do you do? Do you take notes? Do you how do you approach a reading?
So at the moment, when I'm reading, I do grab a piece of paper and pen, and I feel like I'm rewriting the text that I'm reading. So I'm taking down every single thing that I'm reading because I'm scared of missing a point, or missing something very important that I've read.
Uh, that's something that quite a lot of people do, in particular at the start. I think it's important to figure out how much time you have at your disposal and how much reading you have to do. Uh, and very often you'll find that not only you don't have the time to note down everything, but it might also not be the most efficient and effective way of approaching a reading. I think for me, one thing that is important, or at the very least one thing that I learned when I was a student here back in the day, was to focus on the essential points of a reading. One thing that also helped me back in the day was to have a look before I started reading at the class discussion questions on Moodle, at the past exam questions that you could find on the library website, just to have an idea of what are the big issues around the topic that scholars are discussing, so that in a way your reading is a bit more focused from the start. And you might find, in particular, if you consider yourself to be a bit of a slow reader, you might find it a bit easier to skim through the reading and really pick up what are the essential parts. Uh, and with the notes, I think one thing that might also come in handy would be probably to rewrite, to take notes in your own words instead of necessarily using the words of an author. Have you ever tried doing that?
No, I haven't. I haven't. And that's great. And that's just going back, sorry, one point in terms of the essential parts, are they specifically located somewhere on the piece of paper, or is it throughout? Like, how do I manage in terms of reading? Do I read from the top to the bottom? Yeah.
It very much depends. Some authors have very clearly structured articles where it's quite easy to skim through and get to the parts that really matter to you. When in your reading book list there is a whole book, it might be that if you read the chapter headings, you find that there is one or two particular chapters that are really important for a particular topic, and you can focus on those. In some other cases, it's not as immediate, and you might be looking for keywords popping up through the text and things like that. Also, I would say one thing that's important to keep in mind is that the reading lists are long, but the absolutely essential readings, they're normally relatively few, uh, and or at the very least fewer. And you need to distinguish between reading in order to get an idea of a topic and general preparation for class discussion, and reading for an essay, because in that case it's a bit you need to go a bit more in depth.
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. I wasn't aware of that. So, in terms of reading for an essay, so it's not like how, for example, in the class we have great discussions around the reading. Like, so it's not, how would I be reading for an essay, for example? Would you tell me?
I think for an essay, the starting point is the same. You just very often go a bit more in depth in terms of the attention towards one single reading, but you might also find that you are going to read a few more texts in order to gain a more thorough understanding. I think it's important to figure out what you can get from a text in order to write an essay, and also to use the scholar's ideas to build your own argument. And you can find a way to be original, to look at these scholars, their theories, their points in a different kind of way, and to really use their arguments to advance your own. Because at the end of the day, in an essay, what matters is your own approach. You will need evidence, you will need scholarly backing, you will need theories and examples, but ultimately it is your answer to a specific question.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that. So you're looking for, so the LSE is looking for originality, like, so for me to develop my own arguments in an essay?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. This has been really, really helpful. And I was just wondering, if I've developed my own arguments for an essay question, like, can I come and speak to you about it? And can I come and see if the reading sort of does the evidence that I have come up with, like, link to my original arguments? Can I do stuff like this?
Yes, absolutely. If you think that it's helpful, we can go through drafts together. We can work some sort of schedule for you to draft your essay and to make sure that you meet the deadline. We can really kind of get to the bottom of it. We do not offer subject specific help. I'm not a geographer. I do not know much about the subject, but I do know how to write an essay, and I do know more or less, or at least I'd like to think so, what the LSE expects from you. And if you think that it can be helpful, you can book another appointment next week or whenever suits you. Okay?
That's perfect. Thank you so much. And that's booking via Student Hub, right?
Yes, via Student Hub, just like you've done today.
Ah, okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for this. This has been absolutely helpful. Great. Thank you.
You're
Take care,
very welcome.
Dr. Gio.
Great
Bye.
meeting you.
Nice
Bye bye.